Wow.
Well, hello.
The
Look,
home studio. Hi, kitty cat.
it's Grace.
Wow, Grace is so chill.
I mean, not
Grace is the
usually.
chillest cat.
No.
Really?
Yeah, no, I only like show her when she's being chill.
An angel.
Yeah. Like
You're like,
our
look at how
our
well
relationship
behaved.
is much worse than it looks on social media.
Okay, where are you? Where's your home studio? Is it with Ben on the West Coast or are you on the East Coast?
I am on the West Coast in Portland right now. It's going to be a
You've,
year in Portland
yeah, I was gonna say you've been there like pretty much the whole
the
quarantine, huh?
whole time. Yeah.
And are you still with his family?
Yeah.
Are you just gonna keep, like, you just live there now?
Well, like every month we talk about when we're going to go back and we like have this like idea and then just shit gets worse again and we're like why would we do that to ourselves?
Yeah.
Like his parents are so nice and like his mom's obsessed with Grace. Like I overheard her today, like she called her, she's like, aren't, she's British, she's like, aren't you just a little blob of butter?
Oh, that's great.
I was like,
That's
she
sweet.
is a little blob of butter.
That's so cute. That sounds nice. Are you sick of were you and Ben weren't living together before quarantine, were you?
No.
How's that been?
It's like fine. It really like I we have more rooms than the average person here because we're in like a house in Oregon. So like I have this room which is like the front room where I go to chill with my cat and like do my work or whatever. There's a whole other room that like if he's not sleeping well with me, he goes there. And like
Yeah.
whenever like I need to take time and like walk away, like I do. Like I'll just like take
That's
the
really
car and
nice.
go somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super nice. I was just watching a TikTok and this girl was like giving advice on moving in with someone and
Mm-hmm.
she was like whatever you do, make sure that you have like a designated space for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, if you're moving in with someone under circumstances and you guys didn't decide to move in together, like that's less valid than like accidentally what we're doing right now. Like we didn't decide to live together, and that the TikTok was basically saying that like we suck. And I was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, TikTok gets so specific that I'm like, are you listening to my
It
conversations?
knows everything about me.
Yeah, I'm bummed that it sucks because the thing that I love about TikTok is that your algorithm, like your For You page, is just based on other things that you might like and stuff like that.
It's based on you. Yeah.
But because I've binged it so much during lockdown, it's all become like it used to be just funny, like very lighthearted stuff, and now
Mental
it's like,
illness stuff.
yes, it's like reasons you have OCD, and I'm like, I didn't know this. I don't think it's no one's a therapist on there, but everyone's
Yeah.
a therapist on there.
But everyone
It's
is. Yeah, no, it's so weird because I've been diagnosed with ADHD my entire life, but didn't take it seriously until TikTok. Like I was like, oh, that's why I do that. Oh, okay. Like now I like actually believe this about me. Maybe I
in
should
what
take my
ways
meds.
yeah, in what ways do you feel like ADHD, like you weren't taking it seriously? Like what makes you, like what do
Like
you do that makes you take it seriously now?
I think there were a lot of things. I don't know if you grew up in a similar mindset, but I used to think like therapy was like weak and like anybody saying they had like a learning disorder, like unless they were like a real learning disability, like I was like, oh, it's just like an excuse for like laziness or
Mm.
whatever. And I don't know like how that happened because like my mom's always been like a really strong proponent of like mental health and stuff, and she's been like, I've got ADHD, like I've been like managing my symptoms or whatever, but I'm always just like, no, I'm just like this. Like, and yeah, I don't know. I like judge myself less when I leave little piles around the house because TikTok says that is my way of organizing. That's little reminders for me to do stuff.
Yes. Well, I remember people. I hate when people are like, "Oh, you're a Virgo. You do this, this, and this." Aren't you a Virgo?
Yeah, yeah.
in the Virgo stereotype is like, oh, Virgos are super clean and organized, but I also do have ADD, and so I'm like, horoscopes aren't real. Like, I'm not clean or organized, but I realize that, like, mentally I love organization, but like I never actually get around to doing it.
I love organization for other people. Like,
I love
can
mental
organize another
organization.
person. Oh yes. Yeah, I can organize your whole life, but I don't have my shit together because like the emotional components in there, not in there. You know, like when I'm organizing for me or like even doing like maintenance for me, like, I don't know, I'm like, you're not even worth it. You know, like that kind of like depressive thing plays into it. But with other people, I'm like, yeah, let's pull you up. So I'm trying to do that more like, for me now too.
Or I think it's also just like I get way too overwhelmed. Like when it's my own thing, it's like, okay, I want to organize this, but then I'm like, but then I have this thing to do and this thing to do, and then...
Or you get stuck in little trips down memory lane. Do you ever do that? Like when you're cleaning out your room or like cleaning out your phone or your emails, and then you like get on one thing and you're like, I remember that friendship. I should look at pictures now.
Yeah. That was the most frustrating thing about being on ADD medication was it helped me focus, but never on what I needed to focus on.
Yes. If you take your meds
I could solve a
while
murder.
You're doing something else. Yeah.
Yes. I could literally, like, I would have to clean my room. It's like wrong time. Yeah, it's messed up. When were you diagnosed?
Probably like 12 or something.
Do you know how you were diagnosed?
From one of those little computer tests. Do you remember those?
Like Google, like, do I have ADHD?
No,
like
no. Like at a
you
psychiatrist.
Went into it. Yes.
Yeah. And they sat you down in front of the monitor and then they were like, click every time an X comes up or whatever. And I was just like, bam. Like, too impatient to wait. But also as a Virgo wanted to do well on the test.
Yeah.
But like still did poorly.
Yeah, I passed that test with flying colors, and then they sent like a teacher's aide to come into one of my classrooms and observe the class, but it turns out he was only observing me. And I thought he was just like training to become a teacher, so I'd like go up to him every day and be like, want to see this new dance I learned? And like, can I sing you a song? And I was just like entertaining him. And then a week later I got called into the office. My parents are there, the teacher's aide is there, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I am a psychologist, and
I've been here for you the whole time. That's so fucked up.
It was like a John Quinones like what would you do moment.
I already thought like my life was the Truman Show. You know, and that like everything was like the second that movie came out, I was like, they're trying to tell me something, you know, like via movie. And then like if that happened to me and somebody's just like sitting watching you in a room, you're like, oh, someone's always just sitting and watching me. Like all of this is orchestrated.
My fears are validated. I used to think my life was the Truman Show, but then I feel like 2020 has clearly, I'm like, this can't be. No one's doing this to me. You know what I mean? Like, when things are good, I'm like, maybe someone's watching. This is a great plot to my life. And then the past year, I'm like, no, I think we're all in the Truman Show.
Yeah. On this one. Or like in the Matrix, and like something's wrong. Like the person that created this whole universe is just like gone, and it's like haywire. But when I was like stressed about the Truman Show, instead of me just sitting with my anxiety, I gave it to my little sister. Like I was like, if I have to live this way, she's gonna live this way. And I was like, she's
going down with me.
I didn't just say, oh, I feel sometimes. I was like, oh, Charlotte, yeah, the Truman Show, that's about you actually, and it's coming out in January.
That's fucked.
Psychopath.
Like, have you ever talked to her about it since?
Yes. Oh my God. So many things she brings up about like our childhood that she was like, why did you think gaslighting was so fun? I was like, I don't know. Like we used to pretend she like was colorblind. Like we'd be like, oh, do you like this red shirt, Charlotte? And she'd be like,
oh my God,
that's blue. And we'd be like,
yeah, youngest siblings get traumatized by older siblings.
Horrible.
My oldest sisters used to call me a lesbian all the time, and like I didn't know what being a lesbian really was, and so I was like, "Oh, I'm a lesbian."
Yeah, I was gonna say, were they right?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. And so then growing up and like, starting to like flirt with guys and be interested, I was like, I don't know. It messed me up for so long and I never find a time to not bring it up to them.
Don't you think though? I mean, yes, they they definitely outed you before you were ready. And so fuck your sisters. But like, don't you feel like I didn't believe in bisexuality when I was growing up. I thought it was like you're either gay or you're straight. And then like when I heard about the idea of it, I was just like, well, that's just selfish. Like, of course, everybody likes both, but you have to choose. And it's like,
Yeah.
not everybody likes both, Remy, or all.
Yeah, I had a friend growing up who was like, I love gay people, but she was like, I love gay people, but I don't believe in lesbians. And I
What?
feel like a lot of times the stereotype is like with bi people is like girls can be bi, but guys, if they're bi, they're just gay.
Totally. Yeah. No, I dated a bi guy and somebody said that to me. They were like, once you've had your dick in your mouth, you're gay. And I'm like, that is so fucking homophobic because it doesn't go the other way. Like, once a gay guy eats a girl out, he's not suddenly straight. You're saying it because you're homophobic and you're saying that it tainted it, like,
Yeah. I also think most straight guys have had a gay experience in their lifetime and they need to just embrace it and let it go. I feel
yeah.
like
And if you
guys
haven't,
hold
you're a
on to this weird
loser.
shame.
Like,
Yeah, suck a dick. Come on.
truly, suck a dick. If you haven't sucked a dick, I won't suck yours. Like, I'm just gonna say it. Like,
Remy's type is bi.
my type is bi, and but
Bi
also
guy.
Lucas Connolly did my podcast, but also I saw this tweet that was like, it's so much straighter to have tried something and know you don't like it than not try it at all because you're scared of the fact that you might like it. Like, you would never be
Yeah.
like, oh, I've never had Chinese food, but I hate it.
Yeah. Well, and guys always complain. They're like, girls can hook up with whoever they want and it's no big deal. And I'm like, well, then you start hooking up with people and
Yeah,
just be the trendsetter on this free hookup
see the
sake.
change you want to see in the world. Go hook up with your
Yeah.
friends. We love that for
Yeah.
you.
Um, I realized during this quarantine how, because you are like the queen of reality TV, I would
I
say.
am.
You love it.
I love it.
And I kind of go through waves. I never get like addicted to reality shows, but I realized recently that it's all I'm doing.
What are you watching?
I just started watching season 9 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Okay. Is
I just
Denise
I
there
didn't know
yet?
where to. Denise is not there.
Okay. Who is
I don't
Eileen?
think.
Rinna?
Renna.
Nice.
We got Vanderpump. We
Amazing.
got
Virgo?
Erica. I love
Broke?
Erica.
She's
She's
Do you know the
crazy.
tea about Erica right now?
Well, I know that her husband, who she separated from, was like super rich, but then he was cheating on her, even though he's like 100 years old.
But also the rumor is that like the only reason they're separated is to like keep some of the money so that like she can pretend that like, oh, she had nothing to do with his like lawsuits or anything like that. Like, it's a scam. It's one of those ones that I've taken too much time reading about. Like,
Yeah.
I regret losing those hours.
Well, I realized like it's so fun and like also because there's nothing to do, like it's so easy to just get like fully enveloped in other people's lives
We have
because I'm
no
like
lives.
yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just like all this gossip, we need to talk about Armie Hammer, we need
Oh,
to talk about Hilaria Baldwin,
uh,
we need to talk about everything, and then
okay.
also I want to talk about your podcast, which is
Okay.
on a little pause, right?
It's a little hiatus. Yeah.
Like a
We're still
hiatus, and then
making
you're coming
Patreon
back.
content. Yeah.
I was on your podcast a long ass time ago, and it was so fun. And I
So
hit you up
fun.
the other day, which is what reminded me that I needed to get you on here because I was going to. Well, first of all, I should probably preface this by saying the name of your podcast
Do you
and
want
what
me to
it's
do the
about.
spiel?
Do the spiel. I want to hear it in your words.
Okay, you guys. So I have this podcast that I started because at 28 years old, I had never had an orgasm. And I was like, that's fucked up. Like, that feels like wrong because everybody else seems to be doing it. And I wanted to be held accountable to actually try to do it. Because I'd have friends that would like give me tips and stuff, but I'd always quit because I was like, oh, it's not for me, or I'm broken, or la la la, whatever. And I was like, no, I need to be held accountable. So I started the podcast. Podcast is called How Come? And it worked. I come now, and my life is so much better for it.
How many episodes in until you finally achieved
6.
orgasm? Are you serious?
Yeah, it was so stupid.
That's so annoying.
It was so annoying. I was like, could I not just like hold out for 10, like a nice normal number? But at the same time, I was really happy because I was so pent up. And at that time, so the way that the podcast is structured, for those of you guys who don't listen to it, was I have everybody on the podcast. They tell me their first time coming story. And then they gave me an assignment of something that I'd have to do for the next week. And in the beginning, I was giving myself 2 weeks to do all the assignments. So it was really like 12 weeks in, and I was like ready to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you feel like was the most helpful tip that you got?
There are so many. Like the number one thing is, I think, get to know yourself first, and like don't expect someone to just do stuff to you. Like, I was always under the impression, and I think a lot of women are, that like boys are the ones who are good at sex, and they know about sex, and they're just going to do a bunch of stuff to you, and then you're going to figure out what you like via them trying stuff on you. And that is not how things work in any other capacity in life. You know, like, you would never be like, oh, you pick everything that, like, no, you pick what you like, and then you can tell people what you like. And yeah, I always just thought that my whole goal was to make me someone sexy enough and likable enough that a guy would want to hook up with me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, no. The point is to make you someone that you like a lot and that you can satisfy yourself. And then the people who just will like you come along because you're being your authentic self and you know how to do everything. And you're not like trying to use them for anything. You're just like them. It's like, I don't need you to make me come. Like, I just like you.
Yeah. I remember I came on your podcast and I talked about how I had issues orgasming.
I know. And I'm like always wondering about an update. And do you have one?
So the update is still working on it.
That's great. Have you moved out of your place with the room? Okay.
Still there.
That's a problem.
It's a problem. It's difficult, but now, so I got a sex coach during quarantine.
Awesome.
And I just fully give up on myself. I have zero patience. Yeah. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Charlotte, my sister used to call me a lazy masturbator.
I'm so lazy.
Yeah, you're a resting bitch.
But at the same time, it's like like when I masturbate, I'll do it for like an hour, 2 hours. But I'm just like continuing to like, I'm like edging myself.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I just go and then I'm like, I'm about to do it, and I'm like, okay, no. And then I'll go again.
What does the sex coach say?
No. She was giving me these exercises that I was trying to do, and I just didn't have the patience to do them. She told me to set the mood in my room, make my space comfortable, put on like a nice playlist if I wanted to, or just have it quiet if that's what I wanted, and then be totally naked, laying on the bed. And then the exercise was to feel my entire body, starting with my like fingers and just using like the tips of my fingers to touch my entire body, not in like a sexual way, but just to like feel comfortable. And then if my mind went somewhere else, like, oh, I need to go shopping tomorrow, or
bring
like,
it back to what's happening. Bring it
Yes,
back.
and then
Focus
start
on what's
over.
going on in the moment. Yeah. Oh my God. I remember those assignments. What my first one was 30 minutes, be alone, just stroke over your panties. Don't expect anything to happen. And I hated receiving that assignment. I hated doing that assignment.
Yeah.
But I did think it was helpful because like allowing yourself that much time to devote to you, I think that's like what you're working in, because like a lot of like heteronormative sex, like porn sex that we've seen in movies is like very male focused. And so that's what
Hmm.
happens like in the bedroom. And like I know that I've always been conscious of like what's happening to the penis. Don't let the penis go down. Like he's touching me for too long. He must not like this, and then like when you do those things that like 30 minutes starts to feel like nothing, and then it's
Mm.
like, no, I'm used to like accepting pleasure for this amount of time. But they are really annoying
Wow.
exercises.
I should get back to doing it
But
then.
they are like, but also know that they're annoying. Like,
Okay.
yeah, like it's annoying. And also, I was going to say, if you don't like being completely naked, like some people don't like being completely naked. Some people like to have a sweatshirt on and underpants. Some people like to have like, you have to find the whatever is the most comfortable for you. Like if
Yeah.
being in a candlelit room stresses you out because you're thinking about fire, then that's not gonna be your space.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That makes sense. So that was the advice that I got. I did stop seeing her because I was just like, mm, I'm
There
over it.
was there was something though, and it's kind of like how she was saying, like touch your whole body. I did one of my assignments was getting a tantric massage. And so that's like a person like rubbing your whole body, like masturbating you, like touching your tits, making you.
Wait, how did you find this
Oh, I
person?
will send him to you.
Is
Yeah,
he in LA?
he's in New York, but like he knows people.
I'll
And
make a trip.
yeah, no, but also they're like, it's like a sexual wellness network of people that like do this stuff. Yeah,
Whoa.
like my friend who was an editor for Time Out New York referred them to me. So I was like, okay, they're legit. And something that went on when he was like touching me was, it was like the first time I felt like my body was just like one organism. Like I didn't feel like, oh, he's touching my vagina, because he had touched every other part of me too. And I was just like, like I'm one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was it uncomfortable at first? Because sometimes I've had massages where they get like a little bit too close to.
No, we had like the best consent conversation beforehand. Like everything was like, this is what I'm going to do in the beginning. And then I'm going to ask you stuff along the way and see if like you're still comfortable or whatever. And like, even at the top, he was like, sometimes I do this nude, like, cause like he works with like a lot of guys and they like it when he's nude. And he's like, or I can wear underwear. And I was like, yes, that one, like it was very
Yeah.
choose your adventure.
Yeah. That's crazy.
One crazy part, and it's crazy that I wasn't uncomfortable, was I had my period and I had a tampon in, and he worked around it like it was no big deal. And
Wow.
I didn't care
What a
because
man.
I wasn't trying to have him be sexually attracted to me. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I'm here for a thing.
Yeah. It's an appointment.
It's an appointment.
You're like, I'm paying you.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, it technically, yeah, I can still say I've never paid for sex, but I want to eventually.
I went to a brothel in Tijuana and got my coochie spat on and fingered.
Whoa, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting trip. I don't know if I'd do it. Actually, I would do it again.
Yeah. As long as
It
like you
wasn't
didn't leave with any
great. It was
diseases.
no, I came out fine with just an interesting story to tell my friends, but yeah, it wasn't like a great experience because they're used to just like horny dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I can't,
Yeah.
I can't give directions on this one. I don't know.
I used to think about that all the time. Like when I first heard about happy ending places, I was like, oh, if there were ones for women, like that would be so great. But it is different mechanically for like every woman. Or
Yeah, well, now that I think about it, Denise Richards is on season 9 of Real Housewives of Beverly
mm-hmm.
Hills, and she talks about going
Yes.
to a
She got Aaron a happy ending
happy
place.
ending. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was like, yeah, he'd never had one. So I got him one.
And everyone was like freaking out.
Yeah, but I think that that's great.
Yeah, so then we went to Pleasure Chest
Yep, I
and we got
forced.
me a vibrator.
Yes. No, we got
We
you
got
a
uh,
suction toy, an
yes, we
air
got the
pulse
womanizer.
arouser. Yeah. That one is very expensive. And I'm also finding that there are other ones that kind of work better for different people.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening and you want an air pulse arouser, which is essentially like a tiny blowjob for your clit, there are there's Sweet Vibrations. We have a promo code with them. If it's like $45 and then you get 15% off of that. It's like the same type of toy.
Drop that promo code, girl.
How come?
There it is.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, I started feeling really guilty whenever I would force people to buy a womanizer like you, because I'm like, damn, if it doesn't work, then that's like a lot of money that you just spent.
Yeah, well, I got it. I still have it. I don't use it. I tried using it. It wasn't for me. I went to Pleasure Chest recently
How
and I
many
got
times did you
new.
use it?
So that's what they asked me at Pleasure Chest because I told them that I had the womanizer, but I didn't like it. And
Mm-hmm.
they were like, have you tried it long enough? And I'm like, yes. I tried it like 12, maybe more times.
I mean, there was a girl
They were
that
just
needed
saying,
25 times, so like I don't want to be like, oh, like it's, but if it's not for you, it's not for, like, did you feel that maybe with it? Because like,
no.
okay, because the first time I
They were
used it,
just,
it was like, oh, this is gonna happen, like,
yeah, I didn't get that.
okay.
And they were just saying it's like kind of a more advanced tool to use. So they were like, you know, maybe take more time with it or whatever. But I was like, I need one for beginners, for starters.
Maybe it might be more advanced, or it just might not be your thing. Like, there are people who
Yeah.
just like vibration. There are people who need to have a butt plug in to come, women or vulva owners. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has like a different thing. So you just have to try enough stuff until something works. And then sometimes once it's unlocked, like, I never thought vibration was for me. I hated it. But since I've like gotten over that hump of like allowing myself to have an orgasm, I can do it with other stuff. Like
Yeah.
the air pulse thing, like, just unlocked it. I don't like to do it with vibration still, but like I can. I also
Yeah.
can do it manually, but it takes a really long time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, you just have to find whatever, or go back to the drawing board with the womanizer, do different poses, do on your back, do
Oh.
on your front, do on your side. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's different cap sizes for different clit sizes with the one that you got.
Yeah.
Um, use lube, because sometimes people don't like that like raw, dry feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you're a dry person. Everybody needs lube. It's just nice. It's just
Yeah.
nice.
It is nice. It's fun getting new things and trying new things. I need to get over the like impatient mindset of it. But it's
Yeah.
also annoying. I don't know if you got this, but before you had your first orgasm, it's so annoying the way that guys are like, I can do it. They like take
Oh,
it up to task,
I
and it's like you can't. You've already failed yourself.
yeah, and there's just such a huge amount of pressure in the room when like they know you haven't, and you know that they're trying to make it happen. Like, I've had a boyfriend the entire time I've had this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, if a boy could do it, he would have. But I had to do it first, because otherwise I was just sitting there every time. Like, I remember this one time, like, we had just showered and he was going down on me and he was going down on me, and he intended to do it for a long time. Like, he was like locked in, and he was like, I'm going to make, like, he said, like, I'm going to make this happen. And the whole time, instead of being like enjoying it, I was just thinking in my head, like, it's never happened before. Why would it happen now?
Yeah.
Is he going to just like hate the fact that he's wasted this time? Like, what do I even say to him? Like, that feels weird. But then I don't know, like I didn't have enough like coaching from anything I'd seen where people were saying like softer or like to the left, or like don't bite me. Like the only thing I ever saw in porn was like harder. And it's like, that's not what you need most of the time. So yeah, it's so hard to not be in your head with another person who's being like, yeah, I can do it. It's like, you literally can't.
Yeah, I can't do it, and it's my body.
Yeah. Have you seen that TikTok trend where it's like the like 16-year-old boys and they're like,
I
come
hate
here,
it.
girl.
They're like doing, yes,
Come
it's
here.
so disgusting. Ugh. And you just see like the different range of men who are like doing the fingering motion. I'm like, you've never made anyone come. You haven't. And like, stop showing up on my For You page. It's
They all look
disgusting.
like they're like inviting you to like Acrobat. Come here, girl.
But I still send all of them to my partner.
Do you?
I do. I'm like, what?
You're like, hot.
The 16-year-old boy might know something that I don't.
He doesn't. No, have your partner listen to How Come. That's what I used to do with Ben. Like when I couldn't even vocalize shit that I wanted to tell him because I like wasn't there yet. And like a lot of like, it's just like in society that like we're not supposed to tell them, but like,
yeah,
whatever. We are. I would just be like, hey, can you listen to this one episode and like let me know if there's like sound issues or like if you learn something. Like that's fine too.
Yeah, it's nice because he's very sweet and we communicate very well. So that's I think the hard thing about being like a young girl discovering your body is it's just hard to communicate like desires in general and wants. And so it's nice getting older and being like, oh, I feel more comfortable having a conversation about my pleasure and what I want and all of those things. And also having someone who is a mature adult who can be like, okay, I hear you.
And doesn't like gaslight you. Like that's the thing with young, inexperienced people too, is like I've been with guys who like obviously PC Remy pre-cum, who would be like, I don't get it. What's wrong? I've made everybody else come, you know? And then like, you're like, oh, so I am broken. That's what you're saying. Like you're blaming me. Like we went to a sex party for one of the assignments and I sat on like a motor bunny, like a Sibling type thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't work for me at all. But then my friend who went with me too did it and had this guy that she was flirting with there operate it for her, and it didn't work for her either. And he started like shaming the shit out of her, being like, it works for everybody I've ever like, and it's like, that's not even your bot. So like, why are you offended?
Yeah. This is a mechanical tool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like how long have you guys been together?
Only 2 months.
Cute. No, that's so nice that you can already like talk about like, obviously you should be able to. Yeah. Ugh, the bar is low.
I know. It is nice. Well, it's funny because before this, I was seeing someone who was like gaslighty. So so then from that experience, I was like, oh, I'm just always gonna say how I feel and not try and like be cutesy and like dance around certain topics.
I have an ex who he was the first person that I had ever like opened up like, I don't think I'm having orgasms, you know, like it was like I was like 24 or something, and my friends had never talked about them before, and then somebody mentioned it and I was like, oh wait, so people are really having them, it's just not me. And I like told him about it and he was like, okay, like we have to work on this. And we worked on it for like maybe like 2 weeks, and then instead of like keeping trying, he started like looking up things that said like, oh, maybe like he would be like, maybe you're just having them all the time and you don't realize or whatever. Or he found this thing on Google that was like, oh yeah, if you have like a rash on your chest after sex, that means like you came or whatever. So like without any good feeling, I'd like look at my chest and I'd be like, I guess I came.
Oh my God, that's so sad. You're like, I think I have eczema or an orgasm.
Yeah, or I'm like allergic to you. Like I fucking hate you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So what's season 2 going to be like for your podcast?
Oh, this is season 4 that we are approaching.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, season 2. So season 2 and early season 1, we pivoted from me and my journey because like, that was basically like, okay, she did it. And then people were like, can you do it manually? Can you do it with Ben? And I was like, yes. All right, now let's move on to help other people. And we talk about like like everything under the sun that you would want to know about sex. If somebody comes in with something that they feel like they're a fucking weirdo and they're alone on, I'm like, no, like, let's talk about this. And then we'll show all the other people who also feel weird. Cause I felt very weird and alone not coming. Um,
Yeah.
and now we still obviously do sex topics, but for season 4, I'm going to be doing more like life topics that I already feel behind on. So like, how come I can't manage my finances? How come I can't
Ugh.
cook? Um, Still like, how come I can't squirt? Like, cause everybody wants to hear it. But like, yeah, I we've covered a lot of sex. Like I never
A lot of
intended to
sex.
talk about sex this much in my life.
Yeah.
I love
Did
it. I
have you
just
talked
didn't
about
think it
like
was gonna be my thing.
yeah, have you talked about like fetishes and kinks? Because I've recently met some people with interesting fetishes that I didn't know about.
Hell yeah.
I know a guy who
Oh
has
yes.
a
What are they?
pregnancy fetish. Can you hear me?
Wonderful.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That one I
yeah.
didn't
I think it's great.
understand. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, do you need someone to wear like a pregnant belly? Like, I didn't understand it at all. And then in my head, I was thinking, oh, well, if someone has like a fetish or a kink, then every time they have sex, they need that fetish or kink to be like acted upon or else they're
Uh-huh.
unfulfilled. And I realized that that was wrong and that they can have
Yeah.
like, quote unquote regular sex and be fine with it.
Vanilla sex.
Yeah. Oh, it looks. Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's
It's
the
saying the
whole
connection
thing
is
with
unstable.
oh,
Hmm. Okay, I think we're back.
cool.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's the whole thing with 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Am
I
I
think we're
frozen?
good.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
you're
okay.
good.
So that's the whole thing with 50 Shades of Grey is like, and 50 Shades of Grey is the worst BDSM kink movie ever, but like whatever, we love it. And it introduced us in the mainstream. Um,
Yeah.
that he's like, no, this is who I am. This is, and he's wrong about that because they end up having some very vanilla sex and they get married.
Wait. So, speaking of kinks and fetishes, how do you feel? What's Armie Hammer? I want to talk about it.
Okay. My friend EJ Dixon wrote an amazing article on this situation in Rolling Stone that everybody should check out. And it's like, I think it's called "We're All Missing the Point of the Armie Hammer
Yes, I
Scandal."
saw this.
Yeah. And for those who are not familiar, there are all these texts that have come out from now 200 so called kittens, Armie's subs or women that he's slept with, who have presented text messages from him exposing cannibalistic kinks, a lot of BDSM, but um, mostly ignoring safe words and not actually participating in BDSM and being a very concerning person, especially like, okay, so BDSM, like the whole amazing thing about it and the reason why people participate in it is because of the trust and respect. And like when somebody is doming, they're doing it for the pleasure of the sub. They want the sub to be happy, even if they're like in control. Like if it's making the person cry, it's because the making the person cry will make that person feel good. And the reason that safe words exist are because people are like, can say like, oh, this doesn't feel good anymore. And Armie Hammer in those text messages seems to not only want to eat women, break their bones, say horrible things to them, shave their heads, brand them, tattoo them, eat their beating hearts while their chests are cut open, like vicious, vile things, but also not listening to safe words, not giving aftercare. That's a massive part of BDSM is after you participate in any kind of bondage or torture or sex or whatever that you guys have been engaging in, you have to have aftercare, whether that's a massage or it's a conversation with the other person just to make them feel normal and get them back to like whatever they need. Whether it's like walking around in a bathrobe and having a joint together, like there's all different types of aftercare, but like there's evidence of him doing horrible things to people and then ghosting them for 2 days.
Yeah.
One of the girls showed that he had buckled a belt around her neck, which also like you're never supposed to buckle it. Like there are certain like safety precautions that like you're supposed to kind of like study BDSM before you do it. And like yeah, I don't know, whatever. So he belted her neck and left all these bruises and then ghosted her for 2 days. And she said she was 20 at the time. Like that is like so severely mentally damaging to a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with like that specific type of kink where it's so aggressive. Like, you know, I've had sex with people who haven't talked to me after, and it's like, okay, that sucks, you know, that feels shitty.
Yeah.
But to have it be
Yeah.
such an extreme, like, sexual situation, it seemed like he was very manipulative and, like, coercing them to, like, change their boundaries to suit what he wanted. And it's
all the time. And would say like psychologically manipulative stuff. That I talked to my friend about this because this happened to her where like a BDSM relationship went too far and safe words weren't listened to and there was psychological manipulation and stuff. And he said things to these girls that she said were said to her that it's like, you're the best sub ever. You're the only one who can go to these extremes. I love you so much because you're like the Michael Phelps of fucking, which is what Armie said to one of these girls. And it's like kind of love bombing them, but also it's conditional love.
Yeah.
And that really fucks people up. And like you're saying, like, yeah, you can get ghosted by a person after having sex with them and it hurts. But when somebody is beating the shit out of you and telling you that you're nothing or whatever, they have to do aftercare to show you that that was role play and tell you that you are something and that you are special and not reducing you to a non-human thing. Like some of these texts that he sent, it was like, oh, he doesn't see these people as human. Like he doesn't give any fucks. And someone also said something to me that was like Armie Hammer comes from oil money, like money.
I mean, his name is literally Armie Hammer. Like, you don't name someone that unless you're extremely wealthy.
Yeah. And they were like, I just find it so weird when a really wealthy person wants to be a dom, because it's like, do you not already have the opportunity? Like, are you not already more privileged than people in everyday life that like, that's not role playing? Like, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, definitely.
And we recently had Margaret Cho on.
Oh, I love Margaret.
And she said, she was like, every famous person is a sub, like likes to get peed on. You know, like if you, like there needs balance. Like you can't be like fantastic and a psycho.
Well, he's just not meant to be a celebrity. We've tried really hard to make him one, and it's just not cut out for him. He's
Did
just
you
meant
see
to
that
be
article that was like,
person.
stop trying to make Armie Hammer happen?
Yes. Like all the unsuccessful movies he was in. And
yeah, it just sucks. Because
like
Call Me by Your Name was one of my favorite gay comedies.
There's hilarious moments in it.
There are hilarious moments. No, gay movies that I've cried in front of my mother in. It's just so beautiful.
I wanted to cry so bad in that movie and it just didn't happen for me.
Oh my God. It like was before I was out, so it really hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, he'll never know love.
He's so lonely. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what will happen because I feel like now more and more people are talking about it.
I don't think anybody's going to want to work with him. I don't care if like his reputation or people want to. I wouldn't want to be on set with somebody who said they wanted to break women's bones.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Like we don't
Yeah.
want to be around Louis jacking off. We don't want to be around people eating us.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's been such a great gossip, celebrity drama
Mm,
few weeks with the Hilaria Baldwin controversy.
yes, I love the hilarity.
Okay, what's the deal with how long have her and Alec Baldwin been married, and how did she become like why is she famous from being Alec Baldwin's wife?
Yes, I think she's only been married to him for like 7 years. They have 5 kids. It was like,
They have so many kids.
yeah, it was like a kid a year and like only like a year that they were like married. And I think like maybe like together a total of 7 years. I don't know. I didn't really look at the timeline as much as I looked at the timeline of her heritage and
Yeah.
like how she has casually left out facts or said like things like she moved to New York from Spain for
For
college,
school.
for
Yeah.
school, but she grew up in Boston and went to school from kindergarten to 12th grade in Boston. And then I guess spent a summer in Spain or something. And then I guess, yes, came to America for college after that. But like, what kind of lingual gymnastics
Yeah.
and fuckery is this? Like, she pretended to not, I don't know if she pretended to not know the word for cucumber or if she's so caught up in her own grift that she genuinely doesn't remember the word for cucumber anymore, but like was
For those of
speaking.
you who don't know, Alec
Yeah,
Baldwin's
yeah.
wife, Hilaria, also known as Hillary
Hillary.
Baldwin from Boston,
Mm-hmm.
uh, has been claiming to be from Spanish heritage and has gone on many TV shows talking about how she's from
They
Spain
did the
and
cover of Hola twice as a family, and
yeah.
cited that she was born in Spain, which she was not. Alec Baldwin also went on Larry King in 2013 and was like doing like this accent about like, oh, I'm very late. And oh, my wife is from Spain. I'm not trying to be racist. My wife's from Spain. And I'm like, is she? Because she's not her, the reason she's allowed to say that like she says her family lives in Spain all the time. Her parents, a lawyer and doctor, moved from Boston to Mallorca
In
after they
retirement.
retired. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And then the cucumber incident was her on a daytime talk show, like doing a cooking segment where she's
Yeah.
like listing off the ingredients and she's like, how do you
She
say,
said, it's very simple. We got tomatoes. We got, how do you say in English? A cucumber. What the
she's probably
fuck?
like, wait, how do I say it in Spanish?
Yeah.
She probably wanted to say cucumber in Spanish so bad.
So badly. It's just, it's crazy to me because I have been making fun of my grandmother's not with us anymore, but I used to live with her and I literally made fun of her every day because she used to tell everybody, "Oh, mis parientes son de España," which means my family is from Spain. And I'd be like, "Nanny, no, they're not. We got kicked out of Spain during the Inquisition. Like that's in the 1400s. Like it doesn't count anymore." But
Yeah.
like even that counts so much more than Hillary's parents retiring in Mallorca.
And I just love watching celebrities try and address problematic or like controversies in their life via Instagram.
So
It
bad.
never goes the way that they think it will.
Well, also if if you want to control a narrative, turn off the comments because there are smart
Yes.
people on Instagram
Yes.
too. Um, yeah, she like released so many ramblings about like and explaining like actually why I think I celebrated two cultures. So I've adopted these and now all my kids have Hispanic names or whatever. And like the whole time I'm just like, how much did Alec know? Like,
Yeah.
did he not know? Or is he such like a narcissist that like he never asked her family members anything about themselves, like at their wedding? Like, it's just so confusing.
Yeah, I don't get it. How did it even come out in the first place? Like,
There's a tweet from one of her like elementary school classmates that
mm,
was like really impressive how Hilaria Thomas has been pretending to be a Spanish person for 10 years. And then
oh, and then everyone
and
like,
then everybody started like jumping on being like, yeah, I knew her when she was Hillary. She was always like a really quiet, nice girl. Like now she's Hispanic.
rich people have too much, I don't even
But
know.
that's the thing too, is her family is she's from like family money, you know? So like
Yeah.
the reason and people are like, "Oh, why do you even care about this?" Like I like reality shows, but I don't usually like dig into gossip like too much unless I think that there's like a really weird psychological reason someone's doing thing or like a morally corrupt reason. And the Hilaria thing to me, I was like, this is great. You're trying to steal an immigrant backstory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of like a struggling yoga teacher who came to America with a dream and a mat, you know, and like had to
How do you say
learn
Matt in
como
English?
se dice mat. And yeah, there's like all this evidence that like he had a crush on Selma Hayek and she found that out and she
Yes.
like leaned harder into it and like set up this like meet cute of them at like a restaurant where she was like, "Oh, hello." And like it's just weird. I
It's also weird because she already, like, I get someone who's like trying to just like get the bag from Alec Baldwin, whatever means necessary, but the fact that she already had money and was still trying to like
she wanted
convince
like
this
social clout.
guy. Yeah,
Like
it's very
nothing about
bizarre.
her is interesting to him if she's just a white girl from Boston.
Yeah.
But he'd like an exotic yoga teacher from Spain.
Spain.
España.
What else has been going on during quarantine? Have you gone back to New York? Are you missing it?
I went back twice.
Yeah.
The first time because I had to move my shit out of my apartment. Um, and I miss before this New York. I don't miss New York right now. Like I've seen it in the state it's in right now. It's I don't want to do outdoor shows and shit like
Yeah, see, that's the hard thing about social media is I see all my friends in New York like doing these outdoor shows and I'm like, "Oh, it looks fun. I miss doing stand up. It seems like they're able to do it and all of this." But it's like I'm sure if I went, it would be different, but with social media, I'm like, "Oh, I wish I was here," or like
no,
I
it
wish I was
looks so
doing
much
that.
glossier on social than like I went back. Okay, so I went back twice. I went back the first time and it was hot. And I did outdoor shows then. Not all are cracked up to be. You get sunburnt, you get bug bites, you get bumped sometimes. Horrible. Uh, and then I went back in the winter uh, for Ben because he had to do something work related. Uh, and yeah, I did shows in a cold, and that sucks. Like you're just cold the whole time. And
Yeah.
everybody while you're doing it is like, oh, just post great pictures. Like I don't know, some of the
I
shows
know.
can be very fun, but at the same time I'm like, we're in a pandemic, like just chill.
Yeah. Yeah.
We never have the excuse to just chill. You have the excuse, chill.
I feel like now that COVID has happened, anytime that there is a comedy show, there's always so many photographers there. Because, like, now they haven't
Yeah.
had job opportunities. So now every show has a photographer. And so there's all these, like,
Every show.
incredible
Yeah.
looking pictures of these comics, like, on a truck
Mm-hmm.
in a
Mm-hmm. There was,
backyard.
Jenny, Lucas Connolly's girlfriend, who's a photographer. She was doing this awesome series where she was walking to comics houses and taking pictures of them on their like stoops or like through their windows or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh, I want to be back just for that. Like, walk to my house and do a photo shoot with me in my window, and then I'll be alone for the next 3 weeks. Worth it.
Yeah. Is there anything going on in Portland?
No, like we had an outdoor comedy show planned, and then there was like a monsoon that day. And like it was just like the environment being like, give up. You have a podcast, go inside.
Maybe this whole pandemic started for the death of comedy and the rise of TikTok.
It's definitely the rise of TikTok, but also I do, not that it's ever the same, it's not the same, but like I like Zoom shows. I like the fact that like we could do shit and you could be in LA and there could be another person from España on the show in España.
I'm
And
gonna
the
book
audiences.
Hilaria for my next Zoom comedy show.
Wait. Sorry, my family is texting up a storm.
No, you're good. Does your family miss you?
No. Oh my, I know, no. I'm sure they do. I think they miss the idea of me, but like then they don't realize how combative I am, you know? They don't remember.
Yeah.
And then once like we're in like a group chat, they're like, ugh, we don't miss her.
Yeah.
She's
like,
a lot.
glad you're enjoying Portland. Have fun out there.
They do. I do think they have like a little bit of jealousy because I've been with Ben's parents for such a long time that they're like, you must really like these people to like choose to be with them. And I'm like, no, I really can stomach them like a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because they're not your parents.
Yeah. I don't know how he's doing it, but.
Yeah. I know. I always think because my parents are local. And so I'm like, I don't really have that much like income coming in because I'm not like traveling to do stand up. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should just like live with my parents. And I'm like, I would rather lose all my money trying to live away from them than make that decision right now.
Yeah, no, that is an investment in your mental health.
Yeah.
No, do you know what's going to be great when you can invest in your sexual health as well? And you're making podcast and stand-up money, and you can have your own place where you can just jack off with reckless abandon and be so loud.
Yeah, I still do it when they're home, but yeah, I think there would be a nice feeling of knowing that no one is there and I can just make the weirdest noises.
Yeah.
I'll just start shouting random things out to see if my kink is like talking about buses while masturbating. Like I unlock some weird character in my sexual
I have done some shit that I would think is very bizarre back in the day. Like I've kissed my own shoulders. I've like talked dirty to myself.
Oh, that's cute.
You know?
I like a shoulder kiss.
Yeah. I've been like, you fucking slut. Like you big ass bitch.
Like pulling your own hair. That was the weirdest part. I don't know if you remember when I had a shaved head, but that was like the weirdest.
I remember the pictures.
Yeah, it was so weird hooking up with people after shaving my head because it became this weird thing of like just grabbing my scalp where they're like, I don't know what to do, like just grabbing a single
just cup
hair. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because they don't want to run their hands over it because then they might feel gay.
Yes, guys are so. I was talking about this last week. Guys are like straight dudes, questionably, I think, are so concerned about certain things being gay. And I remember I talked about it last week. I couldn't think of the example, But the guy that I'm seeing, I told him he needs to, I'm already telling him what to do, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to wear sunscreen in the morning, like a sunscreen moisturizer.
Yeah,
And
just a little 15.
he's like, who does that? Like, it's like gonna turn him into like he's gonna put moisturizer on and slip onto a dick in his mouth.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to, self-care is not gay.
There was a tweet that it was like, any man who's attracted to like a strong woman is like fucking gay. And it's like, wait, so now being attracted to women is gay? Like, how far have we gone?
Oh my god.
I love
Guys are nervous now that everyone's gay.
Yeah, but like also don't be you know what I think it comes from is their friends like being judgmental about shit.
100%.
When guys stop shaming guys for like being gay or like liking whatever they like everything will be fine.
Yeah, it's literally all about other dudes, like their other bros' perspective on what they're doing.
Yeah. I have a friend who has a friend who hooks up with trans women, but secretly. And I try to talk to him sometimes. I'm like, why do you think it's secretly? Like, is there like not a space that you guys are creating in your group that like he feels he can talk about? Like, are you making fun of him still? Because you gotta work on that if you are.
Well, see, I think it's not that. I mean, obviously, I don't know this friend group. I don't think, if they're all good friends, I don't think any of them would make fun of that one friend. I think that they've all probably made jokes or comments in passing that would feel like,
exactly,
if you were to be honest.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Have you said anything to him? Have you said anything in the space that it might have been like, oh, that trans girl's gross or whatever? Because then, like, I had a friend in high school who I was sharing a room with this girl. She was like the only out lesbian at the time. And we were on like a 9th grade, like get to know each other trip. And one of the girls in my friend group was like, ugh, you're sharing a room with her. Like, aren't you scared she's going to try and have sex with you? And it just colored my idea of like, oh, that's how you view gay people. And you view everyone's really predatory and I can never come out to you. Like,
yeah.
Watch what you say around your friends, you guys. It's like, it can be damaging. And not just with straight friends. Like, I've had gay friends who I tried to come out to them like early on and I was like, I think I like girls or whatever. And it's obviously like white, cis, gay guys. And they'd be like, don't steal my struggle or whatever. You know, like, I don't know. Now we're in a coming out conversation. But if anybody's ever trying to come out to you, like, don't be like you're just trying to get attention. And
yeah, I think it's hard because people, I'm definitely guilty of this in many situations where, you know, I probably say something thinking that it's like lighthearted and a joke, and maybe to that person it's just not. And
yeah,
obviously it's not their responsibility to be like, actually.
Yeah. And then it's all about how like they respond when you say like, oh, that like I told him years later, I was like, hey, actually, like you said something to me that like really bummed me out or whatever. And he was like, I am so sorry. Like, I was so uneducated at that point. And I was just like, oh, like he's always cared. And it was like a joke.
Yeah. Because it does go both ways. Like, it's uncomfortable on both sides. And like, I remember in high school, I said something really stupid, like, you know, kind of like I don't know, I just made some stupid comment, and I remember my friend told me later, she was like, hey, it really bothers me that you said that. And it's always just stuck with me, where I'm like, oh, I just shouldn't say that. And I'm so glad that she had that conversation with me and wasn't like being mean about it. She was just like, this is uncomfortable. So then I could go, okay, well, I don't want to make my friends feel uncomfortable, and she's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you never know how many people are just sitting around being uncomfortable and not saying anything because they've already had that conversation so many times and they're exhausted.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, like, yeah. She's so soft.
What do you want to do once COVID is over? What's your like dream?
I want to travel everywhere.
Where do you want to go?
And just like, Um, Definitely Hawaii, just like
Oh,
to chill for like a second and like
yes.
just like feel good. Um, Somewhere in Europe because it's so fucking old and it makes me feel really cool to be there.
Yes.
Um, and then I want to do more like across the country stand up, even though it's like
Mm-hmm.
not, I don't know, it's not glamorous, but like I haven't seen a lot of the country and I'd be curious.
Yeah. I really want to go to Montana.
We're going, come.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Are
we
you
have a
road
wet,
tripping?
um, yeah, yeah,
You're
definite
road
road.
tripping?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's going to be for a wedding. So you can't come that time, but you can come
Got it.
another time.
Another
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister lives in Arizona, so it's nice to be able to get away and spend time with her and like get out
That's
of
nice.
LA. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I've seen some people going on vacation and stuff and doing it in what seems like a responsible way, like that they're just like going and chilling alone. But I just can't bring myself to do it yet. Like, I don't know. I'm like, let's just, like, I say we're going to this wedding, but like, what if it doesn't happen? It keeps getting worse all the time.
Yeah. My sister, yeah, it's hard because I mean, it's been a year and it's hard to like continue to postpone certain things. Like, my sister had to postpone her wedding. It's not
Yeah.
happening. I had another friend who ended up getting married and having a wedding during COVID because she's like, I don't want to push it back. And,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's not my wedding. So, whatever, you do you. But
You do
it
you.
is just it is yeah, it's like there's one thing that I've learned is that I can't control anyone else, only
Mm-hmm.
myself. So if other
Mm-hmm.
people want to go on what seems like a safe vacation, like, I'm not the COVID police.
Yeah,
um
me neither. I'm just like, okay, I just can't do it yet.
yeah, and I've gone
I
back and
don't know.
forth. Like, my sister had a bachelorette party and it was like, I think 6 of us, and 2 of the girls road tripped, and then me and some of the other girls, we got to ball out on this one. We got to do a private jet to her
So
bachelorette.
fun.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was the coolest thing ever, and we were all just like at this one house the whole time, and it was great. And then there's been times where I'm like, I shouldn't do anything. I can't believe I did some of the things that I did. And
That's my thing is everything is a slippery slope with me. And once
mm,
I justify one thing, it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, like she's going to end up like partying with her mask off. And like, I don't want to do that,
yeah,
And like, I know that I can't control other people. And I know that the only reason I get mad if people are doing something, it's probably because I've done that thing and I'm feeling guilty or whatever. So I'm just trying to like keep myself somebody that I respect. Cause like I can't, it's an existential crisis with everybody else if I give a fuck.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, I'm glad that I got to have you on via Zoom. I'm glad we got to talk about all things
Me
sex,
too.
celeb gossip, and comedy.
I know.
And hopefully, I'll get to see you sometime
I
soon.
would love to see you in the flesh sometime soon, but also if I bring back my virtual comedy club, I would love you to come on the club because you were a club
Yes, I
fave.
missed that. That was so
That
fun.
was a year ago,
That's
early
so psycho.
quarantine.
I was at my mom's house, and my mom was the audience for me for your Instagram Live
So cute.
comedy show.
Yes. So if you have liked me on this episode, please follow me on Instagram at Remy Kassimir. I'm on Twitter too and TikTok. And Remy's Comedy Club. It might be coming back. It's on Instagram. And if you need to learn how to come, go search How Come, spelled the naughty way. And if you
Mm.
like reality shows, this is one I have not forced you to watch, but
Love
you watch Love
Island.
Island, right?
I really
Yeah.
love Island.
Yeah, we really love Island. Is a binge podcast to keep you company as you binge Love Island. Uh, all of my stuff is very quarantine ready. It's just like come and watch TV.
Yeah. I love you. Thanks for doing the podcast.
I love you the most. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Blessings to your vagina.
Mwah.
Toodaloo. Thank you, Anthony.